Over the last 10 years, Georgia has become a major hub for film and television production, catapulting Georgia into the national spotlight for video and film production, and subsequently piquing interest into other areas of our state's performing arts, such as theater, music, dance, and comedy. People from all over the world now move to Georgia in hopes of starting a career in the performing arts. But how does one get started in our state's rich performing arts scene? What education is currently available? And how can we give back to our community to elevate it? What career options are accessible for local artists now within this thriving community? And how can we promote and continue to cultivate our locally grown talent? That's where the Performing Arts Education of Georgia comes in.
We started PEGA because we felt that the performing arts community needed a resource for people that were interested in learning more. So whether you're an actor, filmmaker, comedian, or just interested in the performing arts, we want to be that resource for you.
As a proof of concept for our organization and to show that there is a need for this kind of educational content in our state, we created Georgia Actors, a video series where we interview working Georgia actors about their careers in this industry. Due to community support, Georgia Actors now airs as an interstitial on Georgia Public Broadcasting, being seen by millions of people in Georgia and in select areas in our neighboring states. We've had an amazing response, but we do need your support to grow and to become the resource that we aim to be for aspiring Georgia performing artists.
In addition to producing Georgia Actors, we want to set up training classes for artists to learn more about their chosen craft. We also have plans to reach out to Georgia schools to send out performing artists who are working in the field to talk to students about what it's like to be a working actor in Georgia.
We hope you'll support our mission of promoting and advocating for Georgia's art community. Please check out our website at pega.org and consider giving a donation today. Thank you for watching.
I'm Michelle Rivera Huckabee, and I'm a Georgia actor. Yo soy Michelle Rivera Huckabee, y soy una actriz de Georgia.
Hi, Michelle, how are you?
I'm good, John, how are you?
I'm good, thank you for coming to Village Theater to be on Georgia Actors.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I wanted to start to talk with you about your kind of unique situation and how you became to Georgia to be a working actor.
So I lived in New York, and I had an understudy of mine. I was doing a show off Broadway, Yo Soy Latina, and she had moved from here to New York. And she knew that I wanted to get out of New York because I was a single mom. My twins were about 3 years old, and I just didn't want to live in New York and raise them in New York anymore. And I was trying to find somewhere I could go where I could make a living and still act and kind of fill my creative cup. And she said, well, try Georgia. And I was like, Georgia? And I did. I came to visit. I brought the twins, and my daughter said to me, wow, there's so many trees here. And I promise you that's what said, okay, I need to move to Georgia. I knew one person here at the time who helped me move. I packed up my car and literally drove here without a job yet and came on a leap of faith, basically, yeah.
So really that load up the car and we're going out and
see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Best move I ever made.
And you were working on Wall Street.
I did. I was working on Wall Street, and I tried to find work in the financial industry here so that I can house my Series 7, my 63, and that didn't happen, so I ended up going into banking, and I ended up working at Bank of America, just, as a loan officer at first. And so while I was trying to find acting work, and I only did theater, and it was literally more so therapy for me than anything else. So it was just, try to do a theater gig once a year, and I was happy, just to fill my cup while I worked full-time. And, was a full-time mom. And
do you think your experience in finance was helpful to your acting career? How did those two
mesh up?
Not
at the beginning, I don't think. I don't think, it's funny because I feel like actors are at the bottom of the totem pole, if you will, unfortunately. And it was weird because it's like, I would think to myself when I finally got an agent here and you start going out for, roles, whatever those were, 15 years ago, because I've been here a really long time, and that's when I kind of started. You're like, who do they think I am? Like, they don't really know you, and they don't know what to do with you sometimes. And so, yeah, the finance stuff didn't really help me until when I started doing my own work and creating my own work. That's when it came in to play.
Your first short, Encontrate, you wrote it, you were the location scout, you produced it, but you didn't direct it. How come?
I didn't direct it because I didn't have the confidence in myself at the time to direct it, truthfully. I wasn't sure that I could handle it on my own. And so I joined an organization out of Los Angeles, NALIP, which is the National Association of Latino Independent Producers. I think it was like in 2010. Someone had told me about it, and I flew out to their first conference, and that's where I found my director. It was just such an open environment, NALIP, back then, to where people that you saw on TV all the time, or just everyone was so open and so willing to share information with you and just help you. So I got a lot of contact information, networking, and I just started reaching out to people when I got back home. And that's kind of one thing led to another, and I found my director, and then someone here referred me to somebody else, and I got a crew, and then, you know, that was my film school, I think.
But now you think you could direct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been directing theater, so I'm totally ready to direct film. Short, I would start with a short though. But yeah, I have much more confidence today.
And what made you decide to do your own short?
People not knowing what to do with me, not really. I wasn't Latin enough to be cast as the Latin person, if you will. And I wasn't African American enough to be like the African American person. And then it was just, you know, this was before the whole Afro-Latino movement. Because I've always known I'm Afro-Latina, but that apparently now the world is catching up, right? For me, it was just, well, I want to create something to showcase myself and my culture and, you know, who we are. So when I did Encuéntrate, it was important for me to have different shades of Spanish people, because that's my family. Like my Dominican side, they're all dark skinned. My Puerto Rican family is all light skinned, and it's just, you know, and that's, 10 years ago, you never saw that on television. You never saw that anywhere. And then bringing a little bit of our culture into it was important to me.
What was your first step in doing your short?
Honestly, drawing pictures.
Yeah.
I had a mentor at the time, Mike Panuski, who's actually a local actor as well, helped me kind of figure out how to write it, because I could visualize it more than anything. And I realized then that I see things in pictures, and so I would draw out what I wanted the scenes to look like before I wrote a word. It took me maybe 6 months before I wrote any dialogue, and I had it kind of storyboarded, and then I would write to go with the storyboard.
Oh, nice.
So that was my process.
Yeah, and I know everybody is different.
Absolutely.
How they do it, how they start that picture. What are your thoughts on networking and how important that is?
You know, it used to be a big deal to me maybe a decade ago. You know, you join every organization you can. I feel like if you're just starting out, it is a little important. Where I am today, I don't really do any of that anymore. I think you come to a point where you kind of find your tribe in a sense, and you know what you want at your table. That's how I express it to people when I talk to you. You know, you can't, if you fill up your table, you're not allowing space for what's meant to be yours to come to your table. So you have to free it up. So yeah, I think you have to, you know, you do the networking thing, whether it be organizational, join this, that, or the other for a certain amount of time, and then you move on. This is a relationship business. I say that all the time. Like even when I was in the financial world, it's a relationship business. In my husband's world, I say life is a relationship business. People work with the people that they like, people who have a good attitude, people who bring a certain kind of energy. And I've learned that the hard way sometimes because I wasn't as open as I am now. And I find that it's so important. And I think that's why I see everyone as an equal when I'm on a set, because I truly believe, you know, we are.
And how do you think you found your tribe?
It's funny because while I thought I was looking for my tribe, I feel like my tribe found me, if that makes sense. I firmly believe we attract what we put out, right? I've worked very hard the last 5 to 7 years maybe to really take a good look at who's around me. What am I involved in? What do I want to manifest? What do I really want? And I truly believe that I don't have to. That's kind of why I stopped networking as much as I used to, just because it's almost like the hamster wheel, right? You're like going in this rat race and you keep trying to do this or reach out to this person. And it's so hard, let's be honest, it's so hard to meet someone and try to build a relationship, right? Because there's always this sense of, well, what do you want? And what do I have to give you? And there's just this, and it's horrible. Like, why do we have to go through that? As opposed to, genuinely, like I've learned to build relationships with people that I genuinely like, that I would genuinely want to have dinner with just because, not because I want anything from you or you want anything from me. And the tribe that has found me, I call it, because I feel like that's how it is, more so than me having found them. It's just been over time of cultivating and genuinely caring about them as human beings, right? And vice versa. I think that's first and foremost. I think that when people network, there's such a hunger that's so evident that it's off-putting. And I'm so guilty of that, don't get me wrong. I can talk about it because I've been there. And in hindsight, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did that and I did this, and oh wow, I get this now. So definitely a learning curve. But I feel like you have to tread carefully when you network, just because again, there's always that underlying, well, what do you want? And even now, even when I reach out to people and I just to ask for advice, like I always tell people, it's a Pitbull song, you know, ask for money and get advice, ask for advice, get money twice. I love that line because it's true. Because I've learned that when you ask people for advice versus asking them for something tangible, whatever that may be, sometimes, more often than not, they're more willing to guide you. And that's it, and just let it go. And then, you know, if your paths cross again, they cross, great. If there's a genuine reason for you to reach out, reach out. But I think that's what's lacking when people network, is that genuineness.
Now, you have a strong theater background. Do you think that actors should have some experience in the theater?
I don't think you need or you should. I mean, I think it's totally up to you. I minored in theater in college, so I have that experience and degree. For me, it was therapeutic. Theater has always been a home for me. I did theater for maybe 18 years before I started doing film and television. I mean, I love theater. It saved my life. It really did save my life when I was young. And I think that it definitely helps. But you know, I think a lot of people don't really care to do theater sometimes, which is sad because it's such a beautiful process.
You mentioned that acting saved your life. Do you want to elaborate?
Absolutely. When I was in 7th grade, my mom was a single mom. I went to A-Leaf Middle School and I was a suicidal 7th grader. I had a counselor, Miss Kerr, may she rest in peace, who cared quite a bit. And so she changed my schedule and she put me in a theater class, a speech and theater class with Miss Kreisner and Miss Phillips. I will never forget it. And I was, if you could imagine, a very shy 12-year-old. It was a beautiful classroom where you had your desks, and then at the back of the classroom there was a stage with lighting and everything. And one day she had us doing improv, and she had a little hat and she says, okay, Michelle, come on up. And I'm like, you know, when you're in 7th grade, you're like, Jesus, really? Do you have to call my name? Like, I already hate talking in front of people. And so I pulled out a little slip, and when I read it, it was almost as if, and in hindsight, of course, this is adult Michelle looking back at that 12-year-old and realizing that the universe was trying to help me. And the little paper said, my brother and I got separated when my parents got divorced, so we grew up separately, and we never had an opportunity, you know, to grow up together. And it said that someone had just come to my door with my brother's belongings because he had passed away. First of all, who does that in 7th grade? I'm just saying, I was like, what? So I'm thinking, okay. And you can't speak. Like, it was like, this is just you. It's like a monologue, improv-y type deal with no speaking. And I just remember being on stage, forgetting everybody was there, and I just started bawling. It was the most cathartic thing ever. And I just remember what snapped me out of it was my classmates applauding, because it must have been a big deal. To them, I was acting. They had no clue that I was really crying. Miss Kreisner did, though. And that just opened up she opened a whole new, an entire world for me. And she became my mentor. And I did a lot of plays. they did theater competitions, you know, across the US. And it was just, yeah, she opened a whole new world to me. And that became my therapy. So every time in my life where there's something that's going on, like a perfect example was at the time with my son, the first thing my husband would say was like, get into a class, get on stage. I need you to do something creatively, because it's always been my go-to. So for me, it's just a part of who I am. I'm huge into, you know, energy and Reiki and all these beautiful modalities, and I look at it in hindsight as my guardian angel looking out for me early on in my life. That's honestly how I look at it.
And yeah, that is a lot to give a 12-year-old to do in an improv set.
Absolutely. I was like, where's the comedy or something?
Right.
It was some heavy stuff.
And it was, you had to pull out of a hat, right?
Yeah, we just pulled these little pieces of paper out of a
that was the
hat,
one
and it
you
was
got.
like, yeah, your brother, you know, someone comes to the door and gives you your, you know, a
Yeah.
family member's belongings or something. And of course, for me, it was
Sure.
like my brother immediately. And that just, yeah,
And the next person got act like a chicken.
probably. I don't even remember. But you're probably right.
Something a little less. And so what do you think you personally brought from your theater background to your on-camera work?
Preparation.
Yeah.
For sure, preparation. I think the biggest difference is you don't get to rehearse when you do film and television like you do in theater, so you kind of have to do that on your own. And having done theater, you kind of already know what your process is to make sure that when you get to a set, you're ready for whatever they ask of you.
And what advice do you have for actors of any age who are looking to become working actors in Georgia?
I think my biggest advice, what I've learned in the past decade and a half here, when you come into your own in the sense of being comfortable in your own skin, I think is one of the most important things as an actor, because it frees you up to be whoever you need to be, and understanding that we all have a lane, and when you find your lane, you can only thrive. You know, there is a lane designed for each and every one of us. I truly believe that. And I feel that sometimes people get caught up in, oh, well, they're auditioning too, and oh my gosh, they're gonna get it. Oh my God, they book everything, that type of deal. Don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in that at all. What's yours and what's meant for you will be yours. Take every audition as an opportunity to practice. I used to hate auditioning more than anything, and now I love it because I'm working. I might not be getting paid for it, but I'm working. I'm working on my craft each and every time. I'm trying to be creative, imaginative. How do I do this? How do I do that? Especially here in the Southeast where we're taping, so we're not in the room as maybe LA or New York, even though from what I hear, they're all taping now too. So I feel like we have a leg up because we've been doing it for so many years, you know? Get out of your own way. Basically, truthfully, get out of your own way.
I like that.
But yeah, that's my advice. And enjoy the ride. Because you really gotta love it to stick in it for a long time. I had a teacher once say, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Oh.
And the people who make it are the people who stay in it the longest. And I think that's true.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's about it.